The Catholic Church speaks.
Our theme for today in our press statement is Call to Keep Our Hope Alive. And we want to quote our letter to the Colossians, which states in chapter 3, verse 15, "And let the peace that comes from Christ rule your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace." We, the Catholic bishops in Kenya, meeting at Donum Day Sisters Center in Nairobi, Karen, convey our heartfelt greetings to all of you Kenyans in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. During our meeting, we have reflected deeply on the state of the nation, particularly on COVID-19 pandemic issues, the rule of law, and the national political discourse, among others. We have also noted with concern the drought situation, which is seriously affecting some parts of our country. We therefore wish to state the following. Dear Kenyans, as we all are aware, we continue to experience the devastating impact of COVID-19 on our daily lives. From the daily updates by the Minister of Health, the number of infections and deaths is still worrying. COVID-19 is still wreaking havoc in our midst, robbing us of our close family members, contributing to loss of livelihood for many of our people. We express our solidarity with all the people who are infected and affected by COVID-19. We thank the government for its effort, the government of Kenya for its effort for concerted efforts towards ensuring that the country is cushioned against the ravaging impact of the COVID-19 pandemic through a raft of measures, including rolling out of vaccination campaign, among others. We applaud the majority of Kenyans who have continued to adhere to the Ministry of Health protocols on the COVID-19 prevention. We, however, note with concern that despite the government's announcing suspension of all public gathering in our country, a section of our political leaders has continually defied this directive. It is unfortunate that no action has been taken on all those leaders who are objectively flouting these protocols. We wish to state that our political leaders are sending the wrong signals and messages to ordinary Kenyans, and it's dismaying that the law enforcement agencies are not taking action on these reckless such people. We appeal to the conscience of our leaders to take lives of our people of Kenya seriously and protect them all at all costs. We are sacred. The second point we are dealing with is sacredness of the place of worship. We wish to firmly state again that our places of worship and liturgy are sacred and should not serve as political arenas. The church is above all politics. Consequently, we as clergy are not used to lead us. Let me repeat. We as clergy, and especially the priests, are to ensure that places of worship are not used by leaders to further their political agenda. Any politician attending Mass or who attends Mass must not do so like any other worshipper. Let me repeat. These are serious matters. Any politician who attends worship or Mass must do so like any other worshipper, and no special consideration should be made for him or her to propagate his or her political agenda, nor address the congregation in places of worship.
The Catholic Church speaks.
Number 3, discordance between the President and the Deputy President. It is an open and sad reality that the President and the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya are not reading from the same script. The public exchanges that are being witnessed are dangerous for the prevailing peace and tranquility in the country and cannot be taken lightly. They are already creating anxiety among the people and have potential to ignite political violence if not addressed with immediate effect. We are deeply concerned that if this open disagreement between the President and the Deputy President is taken up by their supporters, the trickle-down effect it could generate across a country would be dire to even contemplate. In a young democracy like ours, it is important that there is unity among the top leaders, as this gives confidence to the people. We call upon the President and the Deputy President to seek ways of reconciling and working together for the sake of the unity of our country. As church leaders, we are ready to step in and mediate a working arrangement between the two leaders that our country badly needs, as provided by the Constitution. Number 4, the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI, and the referendum bill. Following the recent Court of Appeal judgment on the referendum bill, we urge all Kenyans to see this as a huge step towards the entrenchment of constitutionalism and the rule of law in our country. We therefore call on all the arms of government to respect the rule of law and exercise sobriety as they carry on with their respective complementary roles in accordance with the Constitution of Kenya. In the meantime, we must desist from concentrating too much on the fate or outcome of the BBI process at the expense of addressing other matters affecting Kenyans, particularly as we approach the August 2022 general elections. We further urge that regardless of the ruling of the Supreme Court on BBI and the referendum bill, all efforts and resources allocated to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, should be directed towards preparations for the 2022 general elections. As we have already stated, it is not feasible at the moment to consider any referendum before the forthcoming general elections. Number 5, the election date should not change. We are aware that there has been talk of postponing the general elections. This is sending confusing signals and creating needless apprehension amongst the people and predictably the political class. We reiterate our position that the August 2022 general elections must proceed as scheduled. Postponing the elections will only heighten political tension, anxiety, and unrest. The government and the IEBC should come out authoritatively and confirm the date for the next general election and ensure that all constitutional requirements for holding the elections are put in place. Number 6, politically instigated violence. We wish to sound a loud warning against utterances and attitudes of possible drums of war all over our country. If unchecked, such utterances and attitudes may spark off election violence during the forthcoming electioneering period. It is thus imperative that institutions like the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the IEBC, and security agencies begin to map out hotspots and violent instigators and counter them peacefully in good time and within the confines of the law. Every effort must be made to stop the culture of political violence that has been entrenching itself every time we approach the general elections. In this regard, we are deeply concerned about the spate of violence taking place in Laikipia, Marsabit, and Kerio Valley along the border between Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet counties. This violence has led to needless loss of life, property, and displacement of the people. Having listened carefully to the statement issued by those in charge of security in our country, there is every indication that this violence has been politically instigated and is a result of the heightening political tension in the country. This is not the first time that the areas affected are experiencing armed violence in what seems to be a politically motivated agenda. We reiterate that the government has an obligation to provide security to all Kenyans. Communities in Laikipia, Marsabit, and Kerio Valley deserve security and peace so that they can go about their daily lives. The spate of anarchy in these areas must be stopped. Residents must be assured of their security. No resources should be spared to restore calm in the disturbed areas. On behalf of the people whose lives have been shattered, property destroyed, and their perception of Kenya as a country of peace ruined, we urge the government to extend full support to them to enable them reconstruct their lives. At the same time, it is incumbent upon all Kenyans to promote and maintain peace and shun all acts of hatred, discrimination, and violence. We also extend our sympathies to the affected families and assure them of our prayers and support.
The Catholic Church speaks.
Number 7, need for political tolerance. We have noted an increase in incidences of political thuggery and intolerance in our country. We, therefore, call on the politicians to exercise sobriety and tone down on political rhetoric. Nobody, irrespective of his or her position or political leaning, should be allowed to threaten the lives of Kenyans in pursuit of his or her political ambitions or goals. We urge the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to take action on all politicians who, by their political pronouncements, are spreading ethnic hatred and divisions. We remind our leaders that if we continue along this path of ethnic mobilization and balkanization, we are exposing this country to serious danger. Time has come for us to introduce maturity and discipline in our politics. We also call on all Kenyans to desist from following political leaders blindly. We must not allow ourselves to be manipulated by leaders to engage in violence or perpetuate negative ethnicity because we all belong to this one great country called Kenya. Elections come and go, but our country will remain. We should not destroy this country to satisfy the unbridled ambitions of a few politicians. Number 8, the legal regime governing elections. We wish to recall that the judgment in the presidential petition filed in 2017 identified the need for legal reforms as crucial for free and fair elections. One of the issues identified as challenges to free and fair elections was the late amendment of laws affecting elections. Consequently, in the interest of ensuring that we have free and fair general elections in August 2022, there is need for immediate legal reforms to the electoral laws within the next 3 months. It is therefore paramount that Parliament and IEBC should act quickly to ensure that all necessary electoral reforms are carried out by December 2021. We, however, reiterate our position that any far-reaching constitutional amendments, especially those requiring a referendum, should only be addressed after the August 2022 general elections. Trust deficit in the IEBC. We are glad that after a long wait, with the recent appointment of 4 new commissioners, the IEBC has now been fully constituted. A fully constituted electoral agency is expected to strengthen the electoral system and build public confidence in its network. However, it is unfortunate that the IEBC continues to suffer from a trust deficit. As it stands, the IEBC still does not have a substantive chief executive officer less than a year to the next general elections. And similarly, there are already calls from a section of the political divide for replacement of the chairman of IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, and 3 of the old commissioners. The ongoing exchanges on the push to remove the IEBC chairman and the 3 other commissioners is unhealthy and risks derailing the process of holding free and fair general elections in 2022 August. Now that the IEBC is fully constituted, we urge the Commission to move with speed and put in place in good time the necessary systems and processes to ensure free and fair elections. The process of hiring a new CEO must also kick off to ensure no room is left for doubting the competency and integrity of IEBC.
Dear Kenyans and people of goodwill, as we conclude, we should keep our hope alive. despite the many challenges we are facing and going through, we must keep our faith and continue to trust in God, who has never let us down. We, therefore, the Bishop, invite you, all Kenyans, to continue praying for the end of the COVID-19 pandemic and for a peaceful election 2022. As we know, and as we count on the intercession of St. Joseph, whose Jubilee year we celebrate in our church, promulgated by the Holy Father. He is the guardian of the Holy Family. We are a family as Kenyans. May then God bless us with improved weather conditions to reduce the suffering from ongoing through drought, a situation in our country, while let us join in supporting those who are in need of food, shelter, and water. Similarly, we continue to promote peace and justice in order to preserve the integrity of our country and the dignity of our people. Above all, let us remember that when we trust in God, we have hope. We have no reason to fear, for God is with us. We should not be dismayed, for He is our God. He will strengthen us. He will strengthen you. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thanks be to God. And last but not least, once again, thank you for listening and watching. Let's remind ourselves of who we are, Kenyans who love one another.
The Catholic Church speaks.
The church is a place of worship. And ordinarily, even during traditional worship places, mosques, churches, are left alone for just what is meant for prayer and consulting God. So the reality that has dawned on us is combined by several things. One, the politicians looking for space to express their need and so on. But we are saying this is not to be. Unfortunately, they have taken this chance for many reasons, and obviously to sell themselves and sell their parties and sell their agenda. So what happens with the priest allows that to take place. I think we all know every bishop has a jurisdiction over his priests, has a jurisdiction over his churches, and so our mosques, they have their own jurisdiction. It is upon them to understand and take the necessary measures. For sure, it's been embarrassing. Even for a politician, he should be embarrassed to do this in the front of a worship, because the congregants are of different parties, of different affiliations, and fair enough, he wants to sell himself. That is not the forum. We are saying, sorry, we do not appreciate this at all. And I recall we have said it 1,000 times, but let's say it this way, and let me say it again. We love you to come and pray with us, my dear politicians. We love you to pray with us. But leave that space for exactly that, prayer. The second, we are talking about the president, if I want to take the two of them. We have always been very close to the two. I mean, they are our Kenyans, they are our leaders, and we have the opportunity to listen to them. Remember also when the issue of the handshake came up. The issue of the handshake, this just happened. There were people behind the scenes. And we don't announce today we are going to so-and-so to say this to so-and-so. We are always open. We have met them. We have met them at different times. But whatever is going on, we do not, maybe there are many things we don't know. We're only saying it sends a bad signal. The body language itself tells you, even in the family, when mommy and daddy are in conflict, the kids look around and say, hey, hapa, mambo si mazuri. So what do? We are offering ourselves again and again. We have done it before. We have continued to do it. We are not tired. And remember all those moments, not just now, even as before the last elections. And to this day, we have always done it. We do it quietly. We do it in our private ways. There's a team that is always ready to do this. Reconciliation is not impossible. We can differ politically, yes, but we should not show it and fight it out in the open, especially when we are using very sharp and hard language that divides Kenyans. Let's face the issue of conflict. You're talking about Marsabit, we're talking about Laikipia, we're talking about Kerio Valley and so on. We are saying it is obviously has ignited by the political divergence groups. Now, what are we saying? We are saying, I think politicians, this is, first of all, it's unethical. You're killing people, you're wasting people's property. And even those who are being used to do this, we are saying, it is not, you should not take money to take the life of your brother. Cain, you remember the story of the Bible, that Cain had to take his life of his brother for one reason or the other. It is, you have no right, and it has to be condemned in the strongest way possible. Who is behind the shooting, the killing, the burning? Even areas where there's no grass, people are fighting over something. Some are interested in pushing others away, so that whoever wants to be elected, he's elected and opposed because of the other parties. This is the political Kenyan settings. And as we have said, it has appeared and seems to emerge just when we are closing into elections. We have had it from 92. Every year there's a crisis, there's clashes, and we say, gentlemen, Kenyans, enough is enough. Stop it. That's all. Just stop this. Ask people to vote you without having to cause a further damage to their lives by killing them, by damaging their property. It's very unethical. Anywhere in the world, if you use that tactic, and you know, the problem is this, when you go in that way, it's dangerous. It's always, you perpetuate the culture of conflict and wars during elections. So the bishops here, we have discussed this at length, and we want to tell our politicians, omba kura kama raia mwema. Your actions, kazi uliofanya, what you did, kazi uliofanya itakuandika kazi. Kama hujafanya lolote, ufukuze watu uchaguliwe, sorry, it doesn't work. You may go there, but you are going there kwa kifua. Lazima mnichague kwa lazima. This is not acceptable. And we are telling Kenyans, reject that kind of a leader. Kataa. Usimchague. Kwa sababu huyo akirudi baadaye, na wewe hujue itakalo kupata. I really want to say, we are saddened by this year in, year out, election in, election out, violence which is uncalled for. Tuna changamoto ya kutosha. COVID tumesema. Tuna changamoto ya kutosha. Uchumi medorora. Tuna changamoto ya kutosha. Where do you get the money to to buy all these things? Kindly support your people. Last but not least, there's a question of CBC. Tunasema, all of us, I think, call it this way. As Kenyans, it came rather too soon, and we were not very, very fully prepared. So what we are saying is, kindly let's give ourselves time. Dialogue is possible to bring on board all stakeholders. The church is a big stakeholder in education. Other parties government is their particular role. But we need all to come together, the parents. So all stakeholders should feel comfortable. Of course, we never out 100%, but it is a surprise that it's difficult. It's not easy. The cost of it, the whole issue of engaging the parent to become another teacher in the home, the consultation is key. It is key. And only after consultation, and as we continue consultation, we smoothed out all those rough edges. Tujaribu kuhusisha washikadau mbalimbali katika idara ya elimu, wazazi, na pia ndugu na jamaa wanao mashule, hasa private sector, the church and others. So kwangu naona tunaweza kusonga tukiweza kujipa muda na kuendelea kujadili yale ambayo tunaona yanahitaji muda. La pili is a very expensive process, as we have seen in many places. Tunahitaji watu kuongeza madarasa au madawati, wanahitaji kuongeza walimu na kadhalika. So haya yote bila kufikiriwa kwa usawa kwa pamoja, mzee wetu CS Education ana changamoto kali, lakini si yeye, ni sote. Tunaomba tuweze watu wahusishwe kwa namna zinazofaa katika nyanja mbalimbali, ili kwamba tukisema ni ndio, watoto wasome. Tukiona kuna mambo yanahitaji kungoja kidogo, yangoje kidogo. Asante.
The Catholic Church speaks.
Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.
You are watching Capuchin TV. For any complaints, comments, or compliments on our programming, you can either write to us on info@capuchintv.co.ke, or you can call us directly on 0717 424 866. Your complaint shall be addressed within 7 days. Remember to keep a copy of your communication with us. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
Capuchin TV, kitambulisho Katoliki.